It's 4 o'clock. Good Friday afternoon to you. Hope your weekend is off to a great start. It is time for Sports4CLE. I'm Dave Bacon. We've got a jam-packed show. Dan Labbe, Browns beat reporter, will be talking Browns. Some more free agent signings. We also heard from John Johnson and Takk McKinley. We'll hear from them in just a bit. We'll also head down to Indianapolis and talk to Jeff Boals. This is Ohio. Bobcats are getting ready for the Virginia Cavaliers. Also from Indianapolis, Kevin Mackey and Pat Vuyancih will join us to talk about the original Cinderella story of the NCAA tournament, the 1986 Cleveland State Vikings, the first ever 14 seed to win a basketball game. They beat Bobby Knight's Indiana Hoosiers back in 1986. But we begin this show with Browns free agency, and the Browns just keep signing guys and adding to that roster, especially on the defensive side of the football. Let's welcome in Dan Labbe, Browns beat reporter here on cleveland.com, as well as in the pages of the Plain Dealer. Dan, Anthony Walker from the Colts, linebacker, visited yesterday, agrees to terms today. Andrew Berry gets his guy. What do we know about Anthony Walker? What does he bring to this Browns defense?
Well, it really seems like he brings a level of leadership, which was sort of a role that B.J. Goodson filled last year for them. And I think this might spell the end of B.J. Goodson in Cleveland. You know, you go look at Darius Leonard's Twitter feed, Kenny Moore, those guys were kind of upset that Anthony Walker was let go by the Indianapolis Colts, that he was let to sign elsewhere. They really liked what he brought to that locker room, it sounds like. So the Browns got a leader. The Browns got a guy that they can pair with Malcolm Smith and Jacob Phillips and really put together a versatile linebacker for.
1 year deal, a guy that is younger than B.J. Goodson. So you're getting younger. You're probably getting a little more athletic because B.J. Goodson was a little bit older. There are some different skill sets, but by and large, it seems like they would add some speed at that position as well, something we've both said that they needed on the defensive side of the ball.
Right, and I think that was one of the things they really focused on this year when you look on the other signings, but really at that linebacker core. You know, Malcolm Smith can cover really well. I think Walker's a little bit more of a thumper in the run game, which certainly helps to have at that linebacking core. And I just think they want versatility. So they want to be able to have guys out there that complement the matchups that they're facing each and every week.
And the other thing you alluded to, teammates very upset that he will be leaving. That's kind of been a recurring theme. We'll get into that a little bit later. Andrew Berry dipped back into a really, really good defense with the L.A. Rams to sign a cornerback in Troy Hill. What do you know about Troy Hill? What do you like about that signing? What does he bring to the table?
I really like Troy Hill for, again, here's that word, versatility. He can play outside. He can play inside. You look at the contract. That's a guy you bring in to play the slot, but if they need him to play outside because Denzel Ward misses a game or maybe because Greedy Williams just isn't ready, he can slide out and play outside. That's what he's done most of his career. But last year, he really transitioned into a slot corner, and he's really good at it. He's got a nose for the football. When he has the football, he's got a nose for the end zone. So this is sort of like Kevin Johnson, but a better version of Kevin Johnson from last year, a guy that can play multiple positions, you know, either corner or inside. And that's really what I think they look for when they add depth in the secondary.
And so Andrew Berry goes and adds two defensive backs to the Browns from the same team. And that defensive tandem played on what was the best secondary in the NFL. And what I'm referring to, John Johnson, was signed earlier by the Browns. And Johnson kind of talked about his role. So did he or didn't he help recruit Troy Hill? Johnson met with the media, and here's what he had to say about Troy Hill joining the Browns.
I had talked to him. I wouldn't say I recruited, but, you know, I had said, like, hey, man, look, if things ain't adding up, you know how I am. You can get right over here with me. So when Troy texted me, he said, look, I'm about to end up in Cleveland with you. I thought he was just playing around, and then the news broke, and I was like, whoa. So that'll be fun, you know, a guy that you're familiar with. I know it's still football at the end of the day, but it is kind of like a new journey, you know, and it's kind of good to have somebody that you're comfortable with here. You know, we can meet everyone together. You know, I know how he plays. He know how I play. So it'll be fun. And I think what made us so good is we did the little things right and with discipline. You know, I was talking to Coach Joe Woods and Jeff, and we were talking about tackling and killing blocks. Like, those are small things that go unnoticed, but we did them really, really well. And like with really, really great discipline. And we really honed in on those small things all the time. Like it wasn't really, we didn't really have too many times where guys are bust a coverage or wasn't running to the ball or wasn't giving an effort. So the small things really ended up being huge things in the end.
And that is John Johnson III, the Browns' newest safety, the big-name safety, talking about Troy Hill, who he played with. And Dan, there's something to that. There's a level of comfort and familiarity where they know each other's games. That just helps them acclimate a little bit better into the Browns' defense, I think. Your thoughts on that?
Well, especially when you're talking about a corner and a safety, and you've got to be in constant communication. You've got to know how, a guy likes to play certain receivers, if he likes to play physical, if you're passing guys off to each other, it's always kind of good to know and, have some of those unspoken like signals to each other, things like that, to be able to communicate. So, yeah, I think it's an advantage to have a couple of guys that have played together, especially when you're talking about a safety and a potential slot corner. Those are two guys that their paths are probably going to cross a few times this season.
Well, the other thing is in listening to John Johnson speak, it was like, boy, Cleveland fans are going to love this guy. The big smile, the attitude, wants to win. There's a lot to like in just in the way he presents himself. I think once fans get to know him, this is going to be a guy that the city really takes to.
And I think he'll end up, he's here in part because of his leadership. And there was a little bit of, I'm thinking back to when Jarvis Landry was introduced and what Jarvis has represented on the offensive side of the ball, that leadership and that culture change that he brought. I felt like there was a little bit of that with John Johnson too. This guy is a leader. This guy is here to help bring in the culture they want. They really focused on that offensive side of the football last offseason. And now I think they brought in a guy that I think is going to be one of their cornerstones on the defensive side.
Should be fun in free agency. Still has some time left. Dan and I are going to take a quick time out on the other side of the break. Takk McKinley, the defensive end, the edge rusher that Andrew Berry talked about and signed. He talked about coming to the Browns, and again, he sounded like he couldn't wait to get that orange helmet on. We will hear from Takk McKinley. Sports4CLE, we'll be right back. Stay with us. We're talking Browns football when we return.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Labbe, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
Sports4CLE continues. We continue to talk Browns and their free agent signings. Browns beat reporter Dan Labbe is with us as well. It was the first time that the Browns media got to talk to Takk McKinley. McKinley, a former first-round pick. Browns wanted to pick him up on waivers. Browns tried to trade for him. Now he is a Brown, and he is excited to be here.
I mean, they had tried to pick me up, 3 times after I got released. Then they also tried to trade for me. So I was like, the 5th time is going to be the charm. So it was a real easy decision for me. Once they offered, talk to my agent and let's get it done. Let's go. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, what did that mean to you, Takk, to know how much they wanted you last year and it just didn't work out for whatever reason?
It mean a lot. You know what I'm saying? Just the opportunity. Like I said, this league is not promised. So just to be here, just talking to you guys, I'm very appreciative, and to know a team, sees what I'm worth, sees, what I can do, and really believes in me, that means the world. And now I just can't wait, to get out there on that field and prove it to myself and show everybody else, why it was a smart decision to bring me here.
Takk McKinley, a former first-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons. And Dan Labbe, I don't know about you, I was really impressed with McKinley, a guy that, is getting into his 2nd contract. And it's just a 1-year deal with the Browns, but you heard everything you wanted from a young guy trying to reprove himself.
You did. I mean, this is the ultimate kind of lottery ticket here for the Browns. This is a guy that it just didn't work in Atlanta. And last season was an absolute mess on a lot of levels. Atlanta had chosen not to pick up his 5th-year option, which is something they don't do very often. They usually will pick those up on those first-round picks. He was playing around with his weight a little bit to play a little faster. He got upset when they didn't trade him and took to Twitter, ultimately got cut, failed some physicals. This is a guy that's trying to kind of save his career, and he sounded like a guy that understands that. He wasn't blaming other people. He said a few times, this league is not promised. We heard it right there in that little soundbite. So this is a guy that I think understands his situation. And, guys win press conferences all the time, but you heard what you wanted to hear from Takk McKinley today. And now he's just got to go put it on the field, and he's got a chance to maybe, I don't know if he'll live up to that being a first-round pick, but he doesn't have to do that here. He just has to be an able edge rusher on the other side of Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and the other thing that it was important is, as we again listen to what he had to say, he made it pretty clear he thinks he was the reason that he played pretty well the first 2 years and not so well the next 2 years. Take a listen to Takk McKinley saying what it's going to take to get him back to the level where he was a really good player first 2 years in the league.
I think for me, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, and I'll be honest. Got no reason not to be. I'll say, when I was having success in this league, I had 6 sacks my rookie year. Personally, I like to say 8, but they don't count playoff sacks or whatnot. But I had 8 sacks my rookie year, 7 the next. And then, I was hungry at the time. When I came into this league, at draft night, I was real hungry. I wasn't relaxed. I was all about, just getting after it. And I feel like, these last couple of years, specifically probably 2018, 2019, I kind of lost myself. I lost the way I played the game. I just lost a lot. And now, I'm back. I got a great mindset. I got a great team around me. And now it's just, to continue to improve, continue to learn, continue to talk to people, continue to get help, and just continue to grow and be a better person, better player, and just better overall. And as far as the scheme go with Joe Woods, I love the scheme. It's something that, it works best for me, getting a wide 9, and that way I'm able to, use my speed, use my explosiveness, use, what I'm good at, you know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to be able to get in that defense whether it's on the left or the right. I don't have a preference. I could rush on both sides.
And again, Dan, it's kind of like you want to line up Myles Garrett on one side, you want to line up McKinley on the other, put starting blocks at him and say, go get the quarterback. I mean, those are the type of things that he does have the explosiveness and the athletic ability. And he feels like he's in the right place now.
And I think the key thing he said there was, lining up in that wide 9 and being able to use his speed, because he's not a guy with a bunch of moves. He's not a guy he's not Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett can do so many different things. Takk McKinley doesn't have a bunch of moves. He doesn't have the toolbox that Myles Garrett has. But if he's able to take advantage of being on the other side of Myles Garrett and use that thing that he does have, which is his speed, it could pay off for him. It's still a big wait and see with Takk McKinley, right? There's a reason that the Falcons decided that they were just going to waive him last year. There's a reason the Raiders decided to move on from him after getting him in their building. And, kind of deciding, even though they're desperate for pass rush, that they didn't want to take another flyer on him. And again, it sounded like he understood that today. So that's a really positive step for him.
And, we've talked about it a couple of times. He's going to play opposite Myles Garrett. That's something he hasn't had the opportunity to do. He hasn't played with an elite pass rusher, the level of Myles Garrett. Quite frankly, there aren't many of them in the game, but he understands that's an opportunity for him.
Exactly. And I think he'll be one of a few guys that get that opportunity. He'll obviously be the lead dog unless the Browns go out and maybe they draft somebody at 26 that is going to compete and win that job. I think that is a possibility. But he's going to be part of a stable of guys kind of on that other side. It's going to be him, maybe a draft pick. They have a guy named Curtis Weaver that they kind of stashed. They stole off Miami's injured reserve last year. I think he's a guy they like. Porter Gustin is back. I think there'll be some guys that they kind of throw out there on the opposite side of Myles Garrett, but it's going to be Takk McKinley who's really going to get the lion's share of those opportunities, unless, like I said, they draft somebody high and that draft pick comes in and beats him out. But if that happens, that's okay, because you're not paying McKinley a bunch of money and he's still really good depth.
And here is what Takk McKinley said about playing opposite Myles Garrett, an opportunity he's looking forward to.
I think it's amazing. I mean, I pretty much ain't got to get into Myles Garrett resume. Everybody in the world knows it. But the way I think I can help him, is, you got a dog. You got a dog on the other side of you. You got someone that's go battle for you. You got someone that's go hard, that 100%, full speed. Someone that let's go, give it his all. You know what I'm saying? And once again, I know I've done shown a lot of flashes in my career, and for me, it's all about being consistent now. I'm not a rookie in this league no more. I'm me and Myles in the same draft class, like considered a vet now. So, for me, it's ain't no more excuses on why this, why that, why this, why that. It's get the job done and leave it at that. But I'm very excited to be able to, team up with Myles, Sheldon Richardson and this defense and continue to get better. Just continue to improve.
And again, Dan, important to note, 27, 26 years old. I mean, if he can get the way he was the first 2 years in the league, Andrew Berry got some.
Exactly. Really young, the type of player that the Browns are looking for to add. And, we've mentioned Myles Garrett on the field so often, but he said it. He's in Myles Garrett's draft class. And all he has to do is kind of look at what happened to Myles Garrett last summer when he signed that huge, huge extension. And not that Takk McKinley would have maybe been good enough to earn an extension like that, but because of those 2 years that he mentioned, those lost years, he probably cost himself a lot of money. So again, I just think there's so many reasons for him to come here and say, you know what, I'm going to revive my career. I'm going to put it back together. And, I'm going to turn myself from being a bust into a useful player in this league that can make money and play for a long time.
Dan Labbe, Browns beat reporter here on cleveland.com, as well as in the pages of the Plain Dealer. We have to take a quick time out. On the other side of the break, we'll take a look at some of the guys the Browns retained, some of their own free agents that are coming back to play for the Browns in 2021. Sports4CLE, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Sports4CLE continues. I'm Dave Bacon. We are going to continue speaking Browns football. Browns beat reporter Dan Labbe joins us. And Dan, we heard Andrew Berry say at that end of the season press conference he wanted to get as many of his guys back as he could. And to be honest with you, he got a pretty good number of them back. Cody Parkey, JoJo Natson, Rashard Higgins, Elijah Lee, Malcolm Smith, Greg Sennett. So the big one, though, has to be Rashard Higgins. It would be harder to find a more effective number 3 receiver just because of the chemistry that he and Baker Mayfield have shown together in their time in the league.
Yeah, bringing Rashard back was certainly a win for this front office, and they did it at a price that they wanted to do it at, just over $2 million. And, that's an important number. I know this isn't necessarily what Browns fans want to hear about Rashard Higgins, but there are a lot of weapons on this football team. And, this wide receiver room is getting crowded. A lot of these, you've still got all those 4 tight ends. You've still got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. There's only so much playing time and so many footballs to go around. So there's still going to be some competition there. But, Higgins proved it this year that he's a valuable piece and you want to have him on your football team. And we know the connection he has with Baker Mayfield. So, certainly Browns fans happy to have Higgins back. The Browns did the right thing here in making sure that he stayed in the fold for at least another year.
The other one that kind of, Malcolm Smith gives them some flexibility and some veteran leadership from that linebacking core. And then, Cody Parkey, he was iffy in the middle of the year, but made some big kicks late in the year. So I think that, on the one-year deal, that probably makes them comfortable with what they have in Cody Parkey.
It's hard to find kickers in this league. Browns fans know that ever since Phil Dawson was let go. And Cody Parkey certainly wasn't perfect last year. He had his moments. He kept hitting those uprights every now and again on extra points. But, look, he's a guy that's trying to revive his career after that double doink in Chicago. So it's good for him to be back. And if the Browns want to bring in a little extra competition, they can certainly do that, in what should be a more normal training camp. But at least you have Cody Parkey in the fold. You have a veteran guy that's done it for you before, and you can count on.
Is there anybody that they did not bring back that you are surprised by? I know Larry Ogunjobi played a lot of downs, but I don't think he developed quite the way the Browns had hoped he would, and you have Billings coming in. Is there anybody that got away that you think that kind of said, well, we really wish we could have bring him back, but?
There's no huge surprises. You mentioned Ogunjobi, but when we talked to him at the end of the year, he sounded like a guy who was resigned to understanding he wasn't going to be back. And like you said, they've got depth at that position, and there just wasn't room to bring him back. He never quite developed beyond those flashes we saw early in his career. I guess Terrence Mitchell is a guy that was a little surprising, but, it's not shocking. But he is a guy that was nice depth, could play on the outside. I mentioned before, Denzel Ward is a guy that's going to miss 3 or 4 games a year. We don't know what Greedy Williams is going to do. So I don't know if I would call Terrence Mitchell, it's not shocking, but, I thought maybe they would take a little longer look at bringing him back. But I think they'll probably be able to find a replacement there, whether it's a starter on the outside or somebody that can offer depth there.
Well, earlier today we got to talk to John Johnson again, and we've talked about him earlier in the show, guy that Cleveland fans are going to love. He was asked about the report of taking less money to sign with the Browns. Here's what he had to say.
I felt like it was a opportunity of a lifetime, coming to a situation that things are moving in the right direction. That's like rare in this business. It's really a business. It's rare that people care about you. People actually, appreciate you and want to do things the right way. And this city as a whole, let alone the organization, it drips that. And I just felt it. I had a young group, one young secondary, a great defense. We can get a rush on the quarterback. I'm like, it'll be a perfect fit to get out here to Cleveland. So it was a no-brainer.
And again, Dan, it sure sounds like the organization is having, I won't say an easy time, but isn't having a tough time getting people to want to come play for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's been they're going to come to Cleveland because Cleveland's got the money, and they're going to come and get as much of that money as they can from the Haslams and whoever was the GM at the time. Now it's, hey, you've got a chance to still get paid and win. And with John Johnson, this is a guy who, he was a 2-star recruit. Boston College offered him, and he just took it. He was a 3rd-round pick. So this is a guy that's finally getting paid. And I think he understands, coming from Los Angeles, the value of winning and the value of having an opportunity to go to the playoffs, maybe go to the Super Bowl. And so I think that combination made it so that maybe he could have gotten more money someplace else, but he got a really good contract here. He finally got paid. All that hard work finally paid off here. And he's got a chance to continue to win. And we're seeing, people just raving about this organization and this coaching staff. And I know Kevin Stefanski has really put together a culture among his coaches of developing players, and they really treat players with respect. And I think we're starting to see that pay off here for the Browns.
Dan Labbe, Browns beat reporter here on cleveland.com, as well as in the pages of the Plain Dealer. We're going to step aside, take one more time out with Dan, and then on the other side of the break, we're going to see what's next. Who might the Browns be bringing in as they build out this roster, especially on the defensive side of the football? Sports4CLE will be right back, still talking Browns when we return.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your 4-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Labbe, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, You'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
Sports4CLE continues. I'm Dave Bacon. We continue to talk Browns with Browns beat reporter Dan Labbe. And Dan, when you look forward, what do you think is next? Who are some names that the Browns still might be bringing in here as free agency kind of drags into its final stages?
Well, I think you always have to keep an eye on the edge rushers out there, but a guy that I'm looking at actually is a cornerback. Now, maybe this is just going to be one of those situations where they address these things in the draft. At some point, you do have to draft guys and put them on your roster and pay them. But one guy that stood out to me this week that the Patriots put a second-round tender on is J.C. Jackson. Really good young corner. He's 25 years old. That's like the age of choice this offseason for Andrew Berry, a guy going into his second contract. And, if I were the Browns and I wanted to really lock down that second corner spot, I would put an offer sheet in front of him and make the Patriots either match it or see if they are really kind of just doing this to get a second-round pick out of you. I don't think you're drafting anyone in the low 50s in this draft that's going to be better than what J.C. Jackson could give you on the outside.
Yeah, and then there's another interesting name that was just released. Not really an edge rusher, but a guy that can get pressure on the quarterback. Geno Atkins from the Bengals.
Yeah, and Geno, it's interesting as a guy that actually has worked out with Larry Ogunjobi, and I know Larry kind of credits him for the development that he's had. The two really developed a friendship while the Bengals go out and sign Ogunjobi, and now Atkins is a free agent. The Browns are pretty deep on the interior. We talked about that earlier, but if you could bring in another veteran presence and if he's willing to be a part-time player for you, this is a guy that just shows up and works. He doesn't do interviews. He doesn't cause any trouble. He just shows up, does his job, and plays at a high level. And I think that's the type of person and player that the Browns wouldn't mind having in their organization.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because that leads into my next point. The guys that the Browns have signed seem to be not only talented guys, but guys that are, quote-unquote, great locker room guys that players want to play for. And take a look. Anthony Walker's the guy that signed, and we had referenced this earlier. So Darius Leonard played right next to him, and when things hit that he was signing, Adam Schefter tweets out the deal, and Darius Leonard, I'm about to cry, and the reason is Darius Leonard credited Anthony Walker with helping him develop into the player that he is. You saw the same kind of thing with John Johnson. So not only is Andrew Berry targeting really good football players, but guys that teammates want to play with.
Yeah, it's all about developing and building that culture and growing that culture in that locker room. You have to have a strong locker room in the NFL because there's going to be adversity. There's going to be things that don't go your way, and you have to have guys that are going to be able to lead within that locker room. It can't just be the coaches. And, as we're more than likely going to have some more normal scenarios this year, guys are actually going to be able to be together in the locker room and spend time together outside of the facilities. You've got to have really strong leadership. And those are the guys they're looking for. I mean, the most questionable guy they brought in was, I guess you could say Takk McKinley just because of the way things went at the end in Atlanta, but this isn't a bad character guy. It's just a guy that sort of had an ugly divorce with his former team. So, even that's not anything that, you kind of stops you in your tracks. So yeah, it's been good people, players who are hungry to come here and win. And we're really seeing a trend here with this offseason.
Last thing I'll ask you before I let you go, how impressed are you with what Andrew Berry has done in free agency the last 2 years?
It's really hard to not be impressed. He's done a great job of just targeting what he wants and filling it. So last year it was the offense, right? They're going to add a tight end. They're going to add 2 tackles. You just sort of knew this is what they needed, and he went out and did it. Now, he spent big money last year to kind of fill those gaps. Outside of John Johnson, he's sort of doing it a little differently on the defensive side, but still everything that makes sense. You need an edge rusher, so you go out and sign Takk. You needed to get better at safety. You needed a guy like Troy Hill. It's all just very targeted and very smart with what they're doing.
And you can absolutely see where they are going with it. Dan Labbe, as always, great stuff. Appreciate the time and the insight. Dan Labbe, thanks for joining us. So we're going to step aside, take a quick timeout. When we return, we're going to talk Virginia Cavalier basketball. They're getting ready to take on the Ohio Bobcats. Jeff Boals, the head Bobcat, will join us from Indianapolis, Ohio University's head coach, straight ahead when Sports4CLE returns. Stay with us.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your 4-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Maurice, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Sports4CLE continues. I'm Dave Bacon. We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk NCAA basketball. March Madness well underway. First round games going to get going and continue going pretty much through the weekend. And we are pleased to be joined by Ohio University Bobcat head coach Jeff Boals. Coach, you won the Mid-American Conference. We have a lot of Bobcat fans up here in the northeast part of the state, as well as the MAC fans in general. First of all, appreciate the time joining us from Indianapolis. How have the first couple of practices gone as you prepare for the Virginia Cavaliers?
And number one, thanks for having me. And practices have been going well. It's kind of been Groundhog Day. We came right from Cleveland on Sunday to Indianapolis, and we were able to watch the selection show together as a team. And then we had our first COVID test, and every kid had to go to their own room and quarantine. And then we had a second test on the next day. And once we got the negative return, we were able to go practice, on Monday, which was good to get out. And, we just got some shots up. And yesterday we were able to go down to Bloomington at Indiana University and, practiced on their court where we're going to play. So that was really good as well.
When you look at you mentioned COVID, and one of the national stories is the team you're playing, Virginia, has been quarantined, isn't able to travel early, isn't going to have a lot of practice time. How do you approach that? When we were talking off air a few minutes ago, you kind of explained to me that's already been addressed with your team.
Yeah, so my understanding is it's a backup role player that tested positive, won't be playing, and they were contact traced like everyone has been all year. And I told our guys, we went through the same thing. We were on a 21-day pause and had one practice 5v5 before we played Akron, and we didn't have Jason Preston, we didn't have Dwight Wilson that game, and I think we won by double figures. So our guys know that they could come in and it's going to be the same Virginia team that the pause probably won't affect them.
Now, you mentioned Jason Preston, you mentioned Dwight Wilson. Those are 2 of your 5 starters, all 5 of your starters in double figures. You have a 6th player that averages close to 9 points a game. It's balanced scoring. How much fun is it to coach this group?
Yeah, awesome group to be around. Love being around in practice, off the court. And, you can tell by watching them play, even the bench guys, that they love each other. And the excitement they have, the enthusiasm they have. Like you mentioned, I think we're top, 10 in the country in assists, number 1 in the MAC. Multiple guys in double figures. They share the basketball, which I think has really, led to our 9 out of 10 wins recently.
Let's talk a little bit about Jason Preston. That's a guy that when you listen to the national things, all the basketball experts from college say America is going to learn about Jason Preston. Tell us a little bit about him. We saw him in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. Does everything on the court you as a coach would like.
Yeah, he's the type of player that makes you a better coach. He just does everything well and makes everyone around him better. And if the viewers don't know his story, they need to Google, Jason Preston, because his life's a movie. And what he's been through adversity-wise the last 5 years to where he is now is just it's the American dream. As a senior in high school, he was 6 feet tall, 140 pounds, scored 52 points his whole senior year. And now, he's first team All-MAC, first team All-District, MVP of the MAC tournament. And, he's got a bright future. He's going to be playing for money someday.
Absolutely, averaging better than 15 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and he is 6th in the NCAA in assists at 7.2 assists per game. Jeff, let's talk a little bit about you. You're a graduate of Ohio, a 1995 grad. You were a 2-year captain there for the Bobcats in the 90s. Safe to say this is a dream job for you?
Yeah, I was born, raised Northeast Ohio. Huge Indians, Cavs, Browns, lived it, died it, cried it, laughed it. And, I ended up going to Ohio University my first, few years. And I earned a scholarship. I was a walk-on. I tore my ACL in the state all-star game. And my recruiting kind of stopped. And, it kind of started and ended the same way. 20 games into my senior year, I tore my ACL for the 3rd time. And that ended my career. And at the end of the year, my head coach, Larry Hunter, lost an assistant, asked me if I'd be interested in coaching. And I tell people I literally fell into coaching, and that's how I started. And, my dream job has always been to be the head coach at my alma mater. And, 2 years ago yesterday was the anniversary of my press conference, and was very grateful to be here and representing, the great Ohio University.
Now, you were passed over a couple times as well, so it was persistence. You wanted that job, you kept going after it, and how happy were you when it finally happened?
Yeah, when I was at Ohio State, we had some really good teams. We were number 1 in the country, 34-3. Another year, 31-8, and got bypassed twice. And it was frustrating, but wasn't my decision. So I ended up going to Stony Brook University on Long Island for 3 years as the head coach. And my 3rd year there, we were 24-8. We beat South Carolina, George Washington, Rhode Island, Northern Iowa, had everybody coming back. And I really wasn't looking to leave. And Ohio University called, and, 3rd time was a charm.
All right, let's focus again on this upcoming game. What's the message to the Bobcats as they get ready to take the floor against the Virginia Cavaliers from the ACC?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, to believe you can win. Have the confidence you can win. And our guys have done a great job. If you saw the MAC tournament, I don't know if there's been a run where anyone's gone through and led for 117 out of 120 minutes, 3 straight games. And 2 of those we were underdogs. And, we dominated Kent State to start, and that kind of set the tone. So our guys are playing with a lot of confidence right now, and we need that to carry over.
Last thing I'll ask you before I let you go, and again, appreciate the time from Indianapolis. When the Bobcats are playing well on the court, what are we seeing watching Ohio University play?
Yeah, I think number one, an up-tempo, share the basketball mentality. And, defensively, the start of the year, we were poor. That was our Achilles heel. And I think over the last month and a half, we've corrected that. Our defense and our rebounding have led us to, the MAC championship, 9 out of 10 wins. And, that's going to be the key. And we're playing a Virginia team that's very efficient. They're great on defense. They're very good on offense. And, it's going to be a low possession game. So we have to, make every possession, count.
Jeff Boals, head coach of the Ohio University Bobcats. Thanks so much for the time. Best of luck. Go get Virginia and do Ohio, Northeast Ohio, Southeast Ohio proud. Thanks, Jeff. Good luck.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jeff Boals, head coach of the Ohio University Bobcats. We're going to step aside, take a quick time out. When we return, one of the Cinderella stories, one of the best Cinderella stories of the NCAA tournament. Kevin Mackey, former head coach of Cleveland State, and Pat Vuyancih, a player on that team that went all the way to the Sweet 16. They'll join us when Sports4CLE returns. Stay with us.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your 4-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Labbe, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
I had a game plan, and that really helped me versus some other coaches who work hard, get the job, and then they say, well, what am I going to do with it now? What am I going to, how am I going to approach this thing? What style am I going to use? I know the style I'm going to use, and I mean, it's been good for 111 wins. You're also going to be criticized for the style. My first year, they said, hey, these guys are running around crazy. What's going on? But after a while, they saw there was a little bit of a method in the madness.
Cleveland State head basketball coach Kevin Mackey, to me as a college student back in the 1980s, it developed into what we know as the CSU Run and Stun Vikings. Let's welcome in Kevin Mackey along with Pat Vuyancih, a person on that 1986 magical team that made it to the Sweet 16. Coach, first of all, thanks so much for taking a half hour of your time when you were a busy coach at CSU for a college kid trying to get into the business. Worked out okay, and I think it worked out okay for you. Let's go to that 1986 tournament run that you made. Coach, what was your message to the team? You beat Indiana, first time anybody had ever beaten Bobby Knight in the first round of an NCAA tournament game.
Well, I always told the kids, play hard, play unselfish, play smart, and we had a great system. They had great confidence in the system and in themselves, and they were hungry, they were aggressive, and it was a perfect the perfect chemistry for the tournament, and the performance speaks for itself, because when the bright lights come on, there's nowhere to hide, and you're either ready or you're not ready, and obviously we were more than ready.
Pat, you were part of that team. What did you guys believe? At what point in time did you guys click in and say, we can do this?
Well, I mean, we had a number of big wins that year, including up at DePaul against Rod Strickland and Dallas Comegys, and a team that had 3 first-rounders, and that was really, I think, for our guys, speaking for the players in the team, that's when we really realized that we could beat anybody. They had such talent, and several of our guys, including Mouse McFadden. Mouse was the man in that game. He, Rod Strickland was a New York City guy like Mouse, and Mouse took it very personally to go up there and show him who the better guard was. And so our guys realized we could play with anybody. I think when we beat DePaul at DePaul, I think that was the hump game, if you want to call it that.
Coach, when you look at playing Bobby Knight, you were a 14 seed. It wasn't a guaranteed bid. The AMQ8 was not old enough as a conference to get the automatic bid. What did you tell your team when you knew it was going to be Bobby Knight and the Indiana Hoosiers that you faced? And in fact, you were the first 14 seed to ever win a tournament game. So let's get that out there. The Vikings, first 14 seed to ever win an NCAA tournament game. What did you tell your team when it was Indiana and Bobby Knight?
I told them this is your opportunity. Indiana's on TV every week. They're on national TV. No one's ever heard of us, heard of our players, and we're going to be on the big stage, and let's be ready and do what we know what we could do. And the guys were terrific. That right from the start, we jumped on them, and they really struggled to get the ball inbounds. They struggled to get the ball up the court, and the run and stun took its toll. And we knew they couldn't mimic that in their practices. Their assistant coaches, their second team guys, had no clue how to do what we did every single day. Organized chaos. There was a method in the madness, and the results speak for themselves.
What about the way the city responded? I'll ask both of you that. Coach, let's start with that. The way Cleveland responded to that win.
It was incredible. The love that poured out was from everywhere. It came the students, the fans, the media, the administration, everyone fell in love with the Vikings, and they became believers. And that's the thing. I always said it's a belief system first, X's and O's second, and the players are human beings, and we had some great human beings. So it was a lot of fun, and the guys, you can see how we play. They love to play that way. And they were meant to play that way, and everyone got behind it, and the city it was just fantastic the way they showed their appreciation and their love for the Vikings.
Pat, you're a local kid. What did it mean to you to be part of that and to see Northeast Ohio and Cleveland going crazy for Cleveland State?
Well, there were two games I went to before I came to Cleveland State. One was when Doc Rivers and Marquette came to play against Frank Edwards and Darren Tillis and Mike Sweeney. That was in my senior year of high school, '82. That was at Public Hall. And that's where I got my first taste of big-time college basketball. And then I attended the Michigan State-Cleveland State game when Coach Mackey's coach is either your first or second year, and they had Scott Skiles, Jay Vincent, and they were one of the top teams in the Big Ten. And that's when I realized, wow, this is something I'd love to be a part of, because I could see where it was going. I was in the stands, just, nobody really knew me. I was playing in some men's leagues, and I made a determination I wanted to try to be a part of that. So I knew Coach was bringing big-time basketball to Cleveland when I saw them play Michigan State at Public Hall.
Let's fast forward. So you lose a tough one in the Sweet 16 to David Robinson, perhaps one of the best college basketball players of that legend. You lose by a point to Navy. Coach, what went through your mind? What did you tell the team? You don't have not many people could match up against David Robinson.
No, we gave them, obviously we gave them everything they could handle, and I thought kind of a controversial play at the end, and I told them, I said, I got to be honest with you. I said, we let the game be too close at the end. They weren't going to give it to, they weren't going to take it away from the United States Naval Academy and give it to an inner city school from Cleveland. But fellas, what you've accomplished this year is fantastic. It'll change basketball forever in Northeast Ohio. I believe it did, because now there was the idea, hey, you can do it. And what happened at Cleveland State, they bought the Holiday Inn, turned it into Viking Hall, and they built a new arena on the campus, and the whole thing. It was a fabulous experience, and the town was great. The way they opened their arms to us.
Yeah, without question. The Wolstein Center. Keep in mind, these Cleveland State Vikings played in Woodland Gym, which was a kind of on campus, couple thousand seat capacity. Before I let you go, Coach, what would your message? What do you think, Dennis Gates? If you were Dennis Gates, what would you tell this team as they get ready to play the Houston Cougars? A 2-seed.
Yeah, well, I've seen Houston play, and Kelvin Sampson's teams they play. They're very good. They're a very good team, as their record indicates. But I was really impressed with Cleveland State when they won the championship the other day. They played hard. They played unselfish. They played smart. That was our formula. They really got after it. Coach Gates has done a tremendous job. The players seemed hungry, aggressive, and they shared the ball. And they've got to do that in tonight's game, because it's going to be. I mean, the teams, two very good teams going at each other. It should be a fun game to watch.
Kevin Mackey, Pat Vuyancih, great talking to you about Cleveland State basketball. Remember, the Vikings back in 1986, the original Cinderella story that has made the NCAA tournament so much fun. Guys, appreciate the time. Thanks for sharing your memories about the CSU Vikings, and good luck to the Vikings tonight when they face the second-rate Houston Cougars. Thanks, guys.
Go Vikes.
You.
All right. That'll do it for this edition of Sports4CLE. We appreciate Coach Mackey's time, Pat Vuyancich's time. Good luck to the Vikings. We will see you again tomorrow afternoon, or Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock right here on Sports4CLE. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you Monday. Well, we've run out of time this month, but join us again next month for an in-depth look at Cleveland sports makers. For Fanfare, I'm Dave Bacon.